of Breakfast by the Bay. I'm Captain Eric, and behind the camera is Captain Jen, and we're coming from Save the Bay's Bay Center here today. So today, we're going to talk about maps and charts. As a boat captain, one of my primary jobs is making sure that our boats can safely navigate or move from one place to another here in Narragansett Bay. One of the principal tools that we use for that are maps. So here we have a map, and if you look, this is a map of North America. So we have lots of interesting things here on this map. And it tells us a lot of different things. Maps really give us a lot of different information. So we have the Pacific Ocean over here, and this is the west coast of the United States with Washington, Oregon, and California. And this is the Atlantic Ocean over here with the east coast. And little Rhode Island is right here. So if I was going to use this map to try to find my way around Narragansett Bay, I don't think it'd work very well because I don't think I can even see Narragansett Bay on this map. So different maps are used for different reasons. While there is a lot of great information that we can get from this map, it really doesn't work for what we are trying to do. You have to use the right tool for the right job. So let's see if we can find a different map. So here we are. This one is much more zoomed in on our area. So we have Rhode Island outlined right along here. And over here is Connecticut. And all of this is Massachusetts. And right here in the middle is Narragansett Bay. We can tell it's a bay because it's an area of water, that's the blue stuff, and it's surrounded on three sides by land. So one side, two sides, three sides, and then the other side is open to a larger bit of water. In our case, Narragansett Bay opens on the Atlantic Ocean. But if I wanted to use this map to get from place to place here in Narragansett Bay, it still wouldn't work very well for me. There's just not enough detail and enough specific information that I need in order to navigate. This map is actually a watershed map. So it's showing the different land areas that drain into Narragansett Bay. We're going to be talking a lot more about watersheds in an upcoming episode in just a couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that one. But if I want to take my boat from down here in Newport up here to Providence, this map really isn't going to do the trick. So what we're going to need is a very specialized map called a navigational chart or nautical chart. So this is the nautical chart for Narragansett Bay. It's produced by the federal government, by NOAA, the National Ocean Service. And it is really detailed about the water. So if you can see, we have three colors here on our chart. The yellow color is the land, and then the water is represented by two colors, blue and white. So if we first talk about the yellow colors, we can see lots of different landforms here. We can see islands, like Prudence Island right here. And remember, an island is an area of land that's surrounded on all sides by water. So if you see, there's no water, or there's no land that touches Prudence Island. It's surrounded by water. We have 3 big islands in the bay. We have Prudence, we have Connecticut, and we have Aquidneck Island, which is also known as Rhode Island. Now, you can see that Aquidneck Island is totally surrounded by water, even though it gets very close to land over here. And we can follow our shape of the bay, surrounded on 3 sides by land, and that's Narragansett Bay. There's not a whole lot of detail on the land. Really, there's very little. I couldn't use this map to drive easily from Newport up to Providence. It doesn't really show the roads all that much. It has prominent features and things like towers and bridges, things like that, but it doesn't really show much detail in the land. A nautical chart is important because it shows us detail in the water. So the first thing we can see is the water's represented by 2 different colors. And on this chart, that color difference is actually showing us a difference in the depth of the water. Anything that is colored blue is 18 feet or less. Anything that's white is going to be 18 feet or more. So if my boat needs to be in 18 feet of water in order to float, I know that I can take it anywhere where there's white. But I shouldn't cross into that blue area. Now, my boat, Elizabeth Morris or Alita Morris, they draw a lot less than 18 feet. So we can actually cross a lot of this blue area. But it's a really good marker to tell me that I should really start looking at the depth of the water. So if we go in even closer, you can see that there are individual numbers all over. And those are the charted depths of the water. So over many, many years, people have gone and done surveys, or they've measured how deep the water is in every one of these locations and recorded it, and that's what's written down on the chart. And this is actually written down for what's called mean lower low water, which sounds really complicated, but it really means just the lowest average tide that we get in the bay. So everybody knows that the tide rises and falls twice a day, and one of those tides is a slightly lower than the other tide. So over many years, they've averaged together those low tides to get these charted depths. But remember, that means that sometimes it actually gets shallower than those charted depths. So we have that, and that's a great detail for us to have. But we have lots of other details here on this nautical chart that wouldn't be found on another kind of map. We have the buoys that we can find in the bay, or aids to navigation. We have things like lighthouses, like this one right here at Sandy Point in Prudence Island. All of these things are important for captains to know and to be able to identify so that they can safely navigate around the bay. The other really important thing about a nautical chart is it's very, very precise for direction. Now, if we look right over here, this is called a compass rose. So a compass rose is set on a chart, and it's precisely aligned so that we can tell what direction is what on the chart. And if I want to steer my boat due north, I can line up a set of parallel rules like this. I can move it across and then put a line on the chart, and that's going to be the course that I can steer. Using that course to steer and the speed that I go, I can navigate around the bay. So I hope you guys can see that you can learn a lot of things from different kinds of maps. Right immediately here, we can see that most of the blue is actually up towards the top of the bay or near the sides, the coastline of the bay, so right near the land. So these are all good, interesting things that we can learn just by quick looking at a chart. It's one of my favorite tools. Now, I don't use paper charts all that much anymore. We today have lots of different navigational aids, electronic, just like most people have on their phones in order to help them move around. But the map that gets produced by my electronic chart is just the same map as this one. It's just put out there by the computer. Really cool stuff. So I hope this makes you guys interested in maps. There's so much information that you can learn by looking at maps about the world around us. And I hope this makes you go look for some more. In the comments, we have a link to our the chart of Narragansett Bay, and there's a scavenger hunt in there as well. And maybe you can take a look at the chart of Narragansett Bay and fill out that scavenger hunt. If you guys have been having fun with our Breakfast by the Bay videos, make sure that you like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll be back with more